Hi guys, and welcome to Dog's Soul, an empath's guide to your dog's feelings. Today, we're gonna talk about how to build a trusting relationship with your dog the empath's way. So stay tuned and have fun. Alright, so of course we want a trusting relationship with our dogs, right? It's something natural, something everybody desires. We get a dog to enjoy our time together, to go on nature adventures and just have a friend by our side who gets us, who brings positive emotions and positive experiences into our lives, and we want to have fun together, and we want to trust each other, right? Because if we can't trust our dogs, we cannot give them any freedom, or we feel like we don't have any freedom ourselves in our homes. Like if we have a dog who we have to tiptoe around because we're not entirely sure that he won't bite us or even snap at us or threaten us in any kind of way, just making us feel uncomfortable. We are in a very stressful situation in our own homes. And it's the same thing the other way around. If we have a dog who doesn't trust us, who is expecting us to in any kind of way hurt him or scare him, it is a very stressful life. And in such a relationship, you can never fully relax, wind down, enjoy life to the fullest. And that's a very sad thing. So building a trusting relationship looks very different. And that's also why in the process, we cannot use any types of corrections. I know there are people out there saying that the dog needs corrections to find boundaries and stuff like that, but that is not true. We don't need to punish our dogs. If we see them doing something wrong, we can explain to them what we want to see in the situation instead. If we have a very fresh relationship, so the dog just came into our life, there is not yet a bond and not yet a relationship. The bond will form on its own, and if we are treating the dog well, and if we do not add any unnecessary uncomfortable things like corrections, we will have a very strong bond and a very safe bond. With the relationship, it's the same thing. For building a relationship, we have to do a lot more than just fulfilling basic needs. Fulfilling basic needs is pretty much the only thing a bond needs. A relationship needs a lot more. A relationship needs doing things together and experiencing stuff together. And if we want a trusting relationship, we have to experience these things in a way that lets us and our dogs feel positively about one another. It doesn't necessarily mean that everything we experience has to be a good thing, but the relationship aspect, or just the other one of us in the situation, has to be good. Like, if we walk down the street and we see a garbage truck, and the dog has never seen a garbage truck before or has some kind of fear issue with a garbage truck, the situation might not be that positive for the dog if he gets startled or even scared. But if we are there for him, we are providing him with a way out, we are providing him with good emotions in the situation. The situation itself doesn't get really positive, but we in the situation are. And that's what is really important. And to make us positive, we can use so many things. And it's not like we can't establish any boundaries or any rules. Of course, that's important. But that is also something we can do in a nice way and in a way the dog really understands what we want. It's not fair to let the dog make mistake after mistake so we can correct him every single time and never teach him what we actually want or what he could actually do to get a positive reaction from us, right? So, for example, if we have a dog who likes to dig holes in our backyard, we can just interrupt him with an e-collar. And maybe that will stop the digging. But it will not tell the dog how to express his high arousal or high excitement level when he doesn't have any other idea than to let it out with digging. What we can do instead is we see the dog likes to dig. We teach him that high arousal levels or high excitement levels outside are not necessary. And we do that with building up outside time slowly and with relaxation. And also, we teach the dog that whenever he feels the need to just go crazy a little bit, we have things outside like toys and stuff like that he can run around with or he can shred or whatever. And maybe even build a corner in our garden where the dog is allowed to dig. So we can redirect what he wants to do to something that we can accept. And we have established a rule. Another thing is going crazy on walks. If we have a dog who is lunging, barking, growling, just going insane whenever we see another dog, and of course we don't want that, right? But the dog is telling us something in the situation. The dog is telling us that he feels uncomfortable. Something is making him uncomfortable. Now, again, there is one way to just yank the leash or whatever and correct the dog so he doesn't show his discomfort in this way anymore. But that doesn't mean that he is now comfortable. It just means he's too scared to show it again. It's no long-term solution because if the dog gets in the uncomfortable situation again and again and again, there will be a point where he can't contain himself anymore, and then he will escalate again. And most of the time, even worse. You probably have heard me say that before, because it's a real concern. Also, we have a situation that is already uncomfortable, and now we, as caregivers, are adding something that is even more uncomfortable. That's not a good recipe for a trusting relationship. What we can do instead is we teach our dog how to act so he doesn't feel uncomfortable anymore. And there are a lot of ways to do that. It kind of depends on the dog and why he's feeling uncomfortable. But one safe first step is to teach the dog what he can do to increase distance instead of yelling at the other dog. So if we see our dog tensing up, we can step in and provide a different solution. A partner who does that is trustworthy because he helps the other partner who is just not able to help himself. And that's a good recipe for a trusting relationship, right? And besides difficulties, what is also very important is activities together. Activities that both enjoy, that aren't overwhelming for one party or the other, and that fits both sides' needs. Like, if you're a nature lover and you like to be outside and in nature, and your dog is somewhat interested in wildlife, a good activity could be to do little search games, nose work in a natural environment. So, however that may look like in your area and wherever you like to go. And it can also mean that you take a time out of your day where you just take your dog, go into nature, put up a blanket, your dog gets something to chew or a Kong or whatever, and you are just with your dog, relax, wind down from a busy day, and enjoy nature together. And enjoying things together is really something that strengthens the bond and the relationship. And another thing that does that is registering whenever the dog needs something from us and not ignore him. Yes, sometimes it makes sense to ignore the dog, but what I see sometimes is people who are so afraid that the dog is taking over the household or whatever, that they never react to anything the dog proposes. So, for example, the dog comes up for snugglies, gets next to them and puts the head on the knee, and he either gets ignored or even the knee is lifted up, so the dog's head just has to be removed from the knee. And even though people would like to just pet the dog, and if you're sitting in front of them, you can see it in their eyes. They want to just do that because it gives them a break in whatever they were doing, and they would actually welcome that right now. But they have learned that this is not a good thing to do because then the dog would be the alpha or whatever. Which is BS anyway, because a dog cannot be an alpha. They don't build hierarchies like that. They don't live in packs. It's not possible. Especially not with a different species like a human. Alright, but that's beside the point. Yes, if a dog is not able to calm down because he constantly wants something, then we have to teach him to calm down and just entertain himself for a while, right? So we don't have to act on every single need the dog shows us, but also we don't have to ignore every single one as well. So again, the truth lies in the middle. Yes, our dogs are allowed to express needs. Sometimes we can fulfill them, and sometimes we will tell them to enjoy themselves and do something on their own. Sometimes we need to provide them with stuff they can do on their own. Sometimes they just are already at a point where they can do that without our supervision. But if it feels good for us and we're not too busy or we could use a break, We are absolutely allowed to do something when the dog asks for something. And again, in a relationship, even between two humans, if one human always tries to get the other human to do something with them, and the other one is just ignoring the first one, the relationship wouldn't last long. Because it's extremely frustrating, and it kind of spurs a feeling of not connecting with each other. And it's the same thing for our dogs. Probably not as complex as not connecting with each other, but it's frustrating. If the dog always tries to get us to do something and we always ignore the dog, it doesn't feel good. And it doesn't feel like a relationship where we have fun together. Right? So we can really sum it up with having a nice time together. Focusing on force-free training when we are training something, and just enjoy time with each other without putting any kind of unnecessary pressure on the things we are doing together, on each other, on the relationship, or on ourselves. So let me know if this helps you in any way. I would love to know. I would love to read your feedback, either in a review or just via PM on any social media platform or email. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and enjoy your time together with your dog, and enjoy building a trusting relationship together. Until next time. Bye.